If you're not sick of New Year's Eve stories yet, listen to another one. Anyway, it's funny. We got together to celebrate New Year's Eve. Me and my wife, her sister with her husband, and 2 kids. Oh, and my mother-in-law. Let me say right off the bat that my father-in-law is not involved in this story. When I met my wife, my mother-in-law was already living alone. Apparently, it didn't work out, and we moved to my mother-in-law's country house early on the 31st. We had the usual table, bath, and Christmas tree. But first, a few words about my mother-in-law. She was a woman of 49, still in the prime of life. Of average height, but with rather long legs and curves in all the right places. Blonde with a languid and promising gaze. The kind of woman who attracts stares. Oddly enough, however, there were no men around her. Or perhaps she was just good at keeping secrets. It was obvious that she was a woman who attracted attention. All the ladies looked stunning that evening. But for some reason I had my eyes on my mother-in-law the most. She was wearing a red dress with a deep neckline that revealed an impressive figure, black stiletto heels, and that signature sultry look that seemed to promise something. She was the star of our family reunion. Even before the evening started, she was a pleasure just to look at. She walked like a cat and danced like a girl, effortlessly charming everyone around her. She had an easy way of speaking that made the conversation flow naturally. My wife, on the other hand, apparently took after her father, whom I had never met. She tended to sulk for days on end, making it difficult to approach her, let alone enjoy intimate moments together. As the evening progressed, I found myself glancing at her cleavage more than once, and I wasn't the only one. My sister-in-law's husband caught more than a few glances too. We all arrived together, and while the wives were setting the New Year's table and the children were decorating the tree outside, I was next to my father-in-law, trying not to get in the way. At that moment, my mother-in-law called out to us, "Boys, the chimney in the bathhouse is clogged. Could you help a lonely woman, or will you leave me without warm steam?" Well, how could we refuse a beautiful woman? "Take all the tools at the basement," she said. "There's a chimney brush in there. Anything else you need, just ask." She went to fetch a key from the bottom drawer of the desk. As she bent over, her dress pulled up, exposing even more of her figure. My heart raced at the sight. "I'll show you the way to the basement," she said. "Otherwise you won't figure it out on your own." The 3 of us headed downstairs. She walked ahead, clicking her heels on the steps, her hips swaying seductively. My brother-in-law and I exchanged glances. When we reached the bottom, I instinctively caught her by the waist as she almost lost her balance. Instead of pulling away, she lingered in my embrace a second longer than necessary. "Oh, thank you," she said with a playful smile. "If it weren't for you, I'd be welcoming the new year with bruises." Giggling, we opened the door to the basement. The problem: the light bulb had long since burned out. In the darkness, her silhouette was visible only in the faint light of our flashlight. Long blonde hair, smoldering eyes. She turned to us with a playful challenge. "This is getting boring. Let's play riddles. Whoever can't guess must fulfill the other's wish." "Okay," I agreed. "You go first." "It's cold, then hot, then hanging, then standing." "What is it?" "A shower," I answered confidently. She laughed. "Clever boy. Now it's my turn. She's getting hard as a potato." I stammered. "Ugh." She giggled. "Come on, don't be shy. It's just a snowball. What do you think?" I laughed nervously. Okay, you got me. I owe you a wish." She tilted her head and fixed her gaze on me. "I'm almost afraid of what a mature woman like me might ask of a young and handsome guy like you." My heart raced. Was she flirting? At that moment, we had almost forgotten that my wife was waiting for us at the house. My brother-in-law, who had gone to get a flashlight, was still nowhere to be seen. "Don't be so nervous," she teased. "New Year's Eve is a good time for surprises. Now about my wish. How about a dance?" "Here, in the basement." I raised an eyebrow. "Why not?" She pulled out her cell phone. "I have music." A rock ballad played first. She moved to the center of our makeshift dance floor, swaying to the perfect rhythm. The sight of her sensual movements was mesmerizing. Then, grinning, she reached out her arms and pulled me into the dance. The warmth of her hands, the closeness of her body. For a moment, we were lost in the moment. The next song was slow. "Now it's your turn," she said. A gentleman never refuses a lady. I didn't resist. My hands went to her waist, hers to my shoulders. Something flared between us. A charge. A tension. I barely noticed when the song ended. When it ended, I found her looking into my eyes, her lips slightly ajar. "What are you staring at?" she muttered. "Take off your coat, I'm yours." I laughed nervously, not knowing if she was serious or just playing with me. "Didn't expect that from you." She smirked. "What kind of playful thoughts are going through your head? You lost the game. Now grant my wish." "Okay," I agreed. "And what is your wish?" "Tell me about your first time." I stammered. "That's a little personal." "Come on," she encouraged. "An argument is an argument." Sighing, I began my story. It was the early 90s. I was barely 18. My chemistry teacher, Marina, was 29. Blonde, with a thin waist and bright green lipstick. One day after class, she asked me for help. Her shelf of reagents was falling apart, and she needed a nail hammered in. I couldn't say no to such a beautiful woman. When I went to help her, she suddenly lost her balance and fell into my arms. And then, she kissed me. That's how it happened. My first time. My mother-in-law listened intently, her gaze fixed on mine. "Older women always have a certain charm, don't they?" she whispered. At that moment, my brother-in-law returned with a flashlight. We lit a candle, got out the chimney cleaning brush, and started the sauna. As soon as we finished, my wife's voice came from the house. "Boys, to the table. Enough work already." With a mixture of emotions, I went back into the house and poured myself and my wife each a shot glass. At the table, my mother-in-law, with flawless makeup, was once again playing the role of respectable matriarch. Only at 3 o'clock in the morning, when everyone had already gone to bed, did she cast one last knowing glance at me before disappearing into the night.